Hello and welcome. Today in this video I'm going to show you how I finally beat one of the most difficult missions, Jadwiga number 4. On hard difficulty I've tried various different ways from defending the castles to trying to cheese it, but it just doesn't work because as of the latest patch this one has been more difficult and some of the cheesing process has been eliminated effectively. So in the beginning part here, you'll have about 3 minutes to destroy the orange, including the trebuchet, to alleviate the blockade. But I take my units and I go a little bit northwest and leave the last trebuchet there, so I can kind of scout and see and harass the enemies a little, because this is the part where it becomes important later on, because here is where you're going to constantly harass orange as you're building up your economy. The orange base a little bit to the west of our location is gonna be one of your most dangerous, because they're gonna keep you from preventing your economic boom. Eventually, that's going to be your priority, because you need to clear the orange base so that you have access to a clear path in order to destroy the Teutonic ox carts. That's the resources that keeps coming for the gray. Now, economic-wise, I like to build, starting off about 3 town centers. I think 4 town centers might be overdoing it, just because you don't have that constant food production to keep 4 TCs going on. Plus, my APM is very slow, so I have a lot of trouble trying to maintain so much town centers and fighting and harassment. See, at this point, it becomes just a constant juggle of back and forth on your economy, harassing the enemy, rinse and repeat. I made a slight mistake of making the market a little bit too early. Could have put a town center first, more town centers first. Market is going to be important, but it's slightly a little bit later on as you have more economy going, and especially as you have excess resources. You need to constantly buy and sell resources so that you have even more resources to get the upgrades, economic upgrades, as fast as you can so that you're not waiting around. I found out the spot near the monastery is probably one of the best spot in order for you to raid the enemies, because the villagers will just keep coming there and the military units will sprinkle back and forth there. So you just need to gang up on them, finish them off, rinse and repeat, while going back and forth constantly back to your economy. Your 2 heroes are very powerful, especially Jadwiga, because she has some insane heals. As long as you just keep, letting her fight and healing and converting, she'll become really powerful. I think at the end, 690 something HP, and her heals are so crazy fast. It's really gonna help you in those huge battles. This monastery will also drop a relic, so make sure you get that. I forgot to get it, but it's a very nice source of gold income. Just sprinkle here and there for you. For the upgrades, I will prioritize on my Arbalester, because I find them to be one of the most cost-effective and also fast and just extremely hard-hitting of all the unit composition for the poles. So I'll get all the ballistics upgrade and the chemistry, and also in the smithing, everything that archers need, and prioritize on those as quickly as possible, because that's going to be your primary military units to defend and attack as well. And eventually I will also add in some hussars, because they're very cheap and they're fast. Now when the Teutonic Order starts attacking you, it becomes very tempting to just throw all your army there and try to trade with them, but you can't win these first few fights. Right, so I tend to just try to ignore the fights as much as possible, only kiting enemies around and getting as much as I can, but with the whole purpose of just slowing them down, right? Because all you have to do is protect just one castle. You have 3 castles you need to protect, but only one of them needs to remain standing at the end of the fight. So your purpose is not to defeat Grey right now, but you just slow them down. That's it. You can't win this battle now. All you have to do is just wait until the ox carts will come for the resources, then destroy the enemy's ox carts. And eventually you can slowly take away the resources Because I mean, just look at this army. You can't beat them right now. I'm stuttering. You can only slow them down, so that giving you more time to build an army even more. There's no way. All you gotta do is just wait for the countdown to just count down, so they'll leave. Okay. So while I'm defending, I'm also trying to push orange and to eliminate them. At this point, they're almost done anyway because pretty much most of the villagers have been gone, and now it's just kind of clean up the process. Lots of archery range, 6, 7, 8, whatever amount that you have, in order to build more arbalesters. Because I've mentioned that they're really powerful, really fast fire rate, extremely hard hitting. They're kind of squishy because with the post you don't get the last armor upgrade for them, but they're still very powerful. So in the beginning of the video, I've mentioned how important it is to basically eliminate orange so you can get through here. This is why, because now in this cart, they're going to bring the ox carts on the bottom left right corner. That's the ox cart that you need to eliminate as quickly as possible. Because if you let those things live, the war will just keep going on and you will get so exhausted. It becomes a war of attrition and you'll end up losing that fight. Eventually orange will resign, and this will give you now one less enemy to concentrate on. Now the only thing you need to focus on is getting units here and around this area to eliminate the ox carts, and then also preparing a much bigger army for yourself, arbalesters and hussars specifically, in order to defend against the final push. A mass group of arbalesters becomes very deadly. It becomes just like a snowball. So as long as you keep focusing on the arbalest production, wing hussars, you have a good fighting chance against pretty much any enemy composition that they throw at you, especially because they're AI, they kind of clump up and just run to their death. Same thing, siege onagers those siege onagers, wing hussars, they'll really help there. The challenge of this campaign comes from picking a sort of unit composition for yourself. I tried so many different ones. I even tried adding knights, but knights are expensive gold-wise too. Arbalesters with wing hussars seem to be the best composition, at least in my findings. Heavy calf archers can be powerful, and they're very fast, of course, but they're expensive. Very expensive. And then, once again, come nighttime, the enemies will bring their resource ox carts, and you need to just concentrate on the ox carts. Once you're done with that, you have more time to do what you need to do. And wing hussars, I'm a huge fan of them. Wing hussars, they are very fast. So, oh shoot, I think this part where she gets stuck right here. Jadwiga. You can also try building, cheap buildings like the university in order to kind of corral the enemy into a various choke point, but making them more susceptible, is that the right word? Yeah, to your archer fire. But you notice my slow APM this would have been good if only I were faster, but yeah, it can be very effective to doing that. Plus it stops the enemy from moving too much, and it slows them down because they're going to try to destroy your university. That will delay them from trying to destroy your castle. One thing I do notice is that the enemies do not beeline towards your castle, right? They just they destroy your units on the way. Because I think if the enemies were triggered, right, in the scenario to just beeline towards your castle, this will be impossible to win, but they don't, right? They have to destroy everything on the way, and then they'll concentrate on your castle. So that's why you can take that to your advantage and block them and build buildings in front of them. I also didn't use military towers too much, if at all, because the cost is very expensive. And also you can make sure you can use the chat, the number 31, to get your allies to green to attack the enemies. These fights can get an absolute cluster fudge of a mess. concentrate on getting the onagers with your wing hussars and slowly kiting them around if you need to. Sacrifice some unit to make so the enemies chase them backward towards their base if you need to. You gotta do whatever you can. So another mistake here that I made was I have way too many military units trying to be stationed here to get the ox carts and kill the gray escorts. I don't think it's that necessary because that's a waste. You could be putting these military units towards defending the last part of your castle. This last battle, I think, very, very challenging for anybody because their army composition is just huge, fully upgraded. And don't forget the bottom left corner, you have reinforcements that will come, so make sure you get those. And make sure to tell green to attack with 31 command, 3-1 in the chat command. And now it's time to make a lot of sacrifices. See, another mistake I did was I didn't have horses ready in the top part to pick off, enemy siege weapons. Right now I just got stuck right here. Now these Arbalesters that I left in the top corner, I think it might have done some distraction because it stops the enemy from colliding all at once in the bottom corner here, and they kind of got stuck. So you can see how powerful it is. It would be if you just kind of push these before they even come. You build a bunch of universities up towards the north corner of the castle to kind of corral them like cattle, to make sure, like, the lines at Disneyland where enemies have to kind of traverse into like this zigzag pattern. So you can corral them and build universities there and leave some hussars up there in order to pick up the bomber cannons. You'll be in a much better shape. Yeah.
Gotowa jest? Tak.
Jakieś rozkazania?
Witajcie. Rozkazania?
Dobrze. Dobrze. Tak uczyń. Jakieś rozkazania? Tak uczyń.
Attack an enemy now.
Do waszych usług. Do waszych usług. Ojnuję was. Naprzód! Owszem. Do waszych ustrzeg.
Rozkazania? Wykonam.
Attack an enemy now.
Do waszych usług. Do broni!
And so finally, we reached the end, and I would tell you this is probably one of the most difficult missions in AOE2 history. Once you figure out the mechanics, it becomes slightly easier, but it took quite a few tries to even get through this. Let me know if you guys use a different strategy or if there's something else that I'm not seeing to make this campaign mission a little bit easier, because wow, that was fun. So take care, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.
On that day, the combined forces of Poland and Lithuania drove the Teutons back to their Prussian domains. But more importantly than the victory in the field was the fact that the alliance between Jogaila and Vytautas, the former rivals, had held fast. Those imposing men eyed each other after the battle, never exchanging a word. And I believe, realizing at last that they could accomplish things together that neither could do on their own. Though a man might prevail against one who is alone, two will withstand him. A threefold cord is not quickly broken. So says the preacher.
Usług. Owszem,